Hello class, I'm so excited to begin this semester with you. GS 120 Life Skills is a great course to begin your pathway to learning. The course has three main objectives: to become an effective learner, to become self-reliant, and to serve your family, church, and community. In order to accomplish these objectives, there are some different kinds of lessons that you will be doing throughout the semester. This will be our schedule. So first we will have the Introduction to GS 120, Welcome to Pathway in Lesson 2, Disciple Leadership, Lifelong Learning, Academic Planning and Career Exploration, Decision Making and Goal Setting, Time Management, Information Literacy, Self-Reliance, Work, Personal Financial Management, Family Relationships, Giving Back, and then the last lesson will be the conclusion. When you log on to iLearn and click on Course Schedule, this is what you will see, and it will help you know the upcoming due dates that are coming. You can choose the upcoming or full schedule. Right now I have it on the full schedule view. This week you will be working on Lesson 1, the Introduction to GS 120. Each lesson has some basic components to them. There's getting started, pre-gathering, gathering, post-gathering, and lesson enhancement. And each one of these will show up in the course as a folder under each lesson. Getting started is where you will just begin each week. Read these things first. You need to read the announcements that are on the course landing page. And I will be leaving those 2 to 3 times a week. You need to read the questions and conversations discussion board. Each discussion board, or each lesson has its own questions and conversations discussion board. And so often class members will post questions there, and I will be answering those. And then you also need to look at the course or the lesson preview. And this is basically an outline of what is coming up in the lesson. It has links to each of the activities and assignments. The pre-gathering is composed of all of the midweek activities. These are all due by Wednesday at 11 p.m. Mountain Time. All of the due dates are, and any times are all in Mountain Time. So, for instance, if you live in the Pacific Time, your midweek activities will all be due Wednesday at 10 p.m., which would be 11 p.m. in Mountain Time. So your pre-gathering activities are the lesson material. Usually they're reading assignments. And then you'll have a quiz on the lesson material, and also your initial discussion board post. So the discussion boards are all set up according to each lesson. For instance, lesson 1, you go into the lesson 1 discussion board, and that will be your very first post that you make. The next component of the lesson is the gathering, and this is your Thursday gathering. And so there is a little bit of preparation that you need to do before you go to your gathering. Then you need to actually attend the gathering, and then after you have done that, you need to fill out the gathering report, and this basically just asks if you went to the gathering. The post-gathering activities are all due Saturday at 11 p.m. Mountain Time. These include discussion board responses. So that would be after you have done your initial discussion board post, you need to respond to at least two other discussion board posts, preferably more, and then also respond to people who have responded to your original post. Also the application activity, teach a friend, and learning report. So all of these things are activities and assignments that are due Saturday at 11 p.m. Mountain Time. Then the last component of each lesson is the lesson enhancement. This is just a way to enhance your learning and understanding. This is all optional. You don't have to do any of these things, but I strongly encourage you to go through the lesson enhancement each week. It will just enrich your experience and help you to make the most of it. So you're probably wondering about late work. In this course, we have a gradual late work policy. So lessons 1 through 3, you can submit late work with no penalty. You can only submit it up to a week late. At that point, then it's just too difficult for you to get caught up, and it's better for you to just continue moving forward. But you can submit lessons 1 through 3 up to a week late with no penalty. After that, the rest of the lessons will be 10% off per day that they're late, up to 5 days. So if a lesson, if something is due on Saturday, you have 5 days after that to turn it in. Sundays are not included in that. I strongly encourage you to not work on your assignments, to not do any pathway work on Sundays as much as possible, because we want to encourage you to spend that time with your family, to focus on the Savior, and to not have to worry about your schoolwork. So my late work policy does not include Sundays. Because of the nature of the discussion boards, I can't accept late work for the discussion boards. The discussion boards are basically our online equivalent of a classroom discussion. So if you are not participating in the discussion boards, it is as if you're not participating in a classroom discussion. And the discussion boards will close at a certain time, and so then you won't be able to comment on other people, and you're not really engaging in the discussion. So for that reason, I can't accept late work for those. I also want to remind you that if you have any life events coming up, that you need to plan ahead. If you have a child who is having a baby and you are planning to help out with that, let me know ahead of time. Say, hey, these are the dates that this is happening. Is there any way for me to work ahead? I'm always happy to help you work ahead in order to accommodate for those things. And if you have a surgery coming up and you know you're going to be out of commission, let me know ahead of time. Obviously, if something happens last minute, just let me know as soon as you can. The biggest thing is to communicate with me. If something comes up, please let me know. Last semester, I had to have my gallbladder out, and so that obviously took away from the time I was able to devote to my course, and so obviously that was an extenuating circumstance, and I communicated with my students to let them know, hey, this is going to be something going on. I'm not going to be as present in the discussion boards and things like that. So if you will communicate with me, I'm much more able to work with you if you have issues. So the last thing is with questions and concerns. There are 3 places for that you can address your questions and concerns. The first is to check the announcements. Often when you have a question, I will have already answered it in the announcements. Remember, that is on the course landing page. The second is the questions and conversations discussion board. Please check this page frequently because sometimes other people think of questions that you might not have thought of, but in finding the answers, then you'll realize maybe you needed that extra clarification. You can also answer questions that some of your classmates ask. For instance, if somebody says, hey, I'm not sure how to do this assignment, and you go, oh, I know how to do that assignment, then you can comment and explain it, and that will save me some time that I can then devote to other questions that maybe you are struggling with. And then the last way to ask questions is to email me. Of course, email should be the primary contact if you have an urgent matter or something that is of a personal nature. So say you need to communicate with me about going to be out of town, or that you're going to have a surgery or something. Obviously, that is a personal matter, so you would just email directly your concern or question. Or if it's an urgent matter, I will be checking my email much more than I will check the discussion boards. So if it is something that you need an answer right away, send me an email and I will get to it as soon as I can. So that is all that I have, and please let me know if you have any more questions. I am so excited to get started, and we'll see you in the classroom.